Hello, I'm talking with Dr. Richard Kaye today. Dr. Kaye is a retired chiropractor who has become the authority in successful negotiations. His program, The Secrets of Empowering Negotiation, has helped people improve their negotiation skills, improve their communication skills, and develop strategies that will help them secure deals like negotiation masters. Let's dive in. Securing a big salary should be as easy as asking for more, right? Turns out it's a little bit more than that. First, let me ask you, which of these apply to you? Reading org announcements with envy as other people get promoted? Working long hours with little to show for it? Getting more degrees hoping to be seen? Don't feel bad. I made the same mistake myself without even realizing it. And it's not your fault. In this podcast, I'm going to help you master the strategy and techniques on how to get promoted, how to double your paycheck, and how to secure more flexibility without adding more work or more degrees.
You are listening to Salary Negotiations Made Simple, the show that builds your confidence and inspires you to negotiate for the career you deserve. Do you want to double your salary, secure an ideal career, and increase your confidence to powerfully negotiate every career move? Then you are in exactly the right place.
Hi, Richard. How are you today?
Absolutely magnificent, gorgeous day, and I get to spend some of it with you, Dorothy.
I love it. Thank you for being in the studio with us. Would you start us off with a little bit of an introduction, who you are and how you help?
Oh, how I help is different than who, and we'll tie them in together. So, Dorothy, I'm a retired chiropractor, and this part of the story that you asked me before we started, how did I learn this negotiation stuff? When I drove from New York to San Diego to set up a practice, I was one of 300 chiropractors. How do you start or grow any business in that kind of crowded field? It all comes down to one thing, myriad things, but negotiation is part of it. I negotiated my way onto an interview on the morning television talk show in San Diego. Then I negotiated to continue that program, being a guest invited back every month for about a year. Then I negotiated an article in the San Diego Tribune. Then I negotiated an article in the Los Angeles Times. These are all different kinds of negotiation skills and strategies, and we'll talk about a bunch of them here. Then, and this is publicity, but I got a phone call from the producer of the ABC News in San Diego. She says, "Who are you?" Now I got a 6:30 news segment on ABC. Then I got a phone call from PBS. Same kind of thing. Who are you? Now I got a PBS segment about me. This is all negotiation. How do you answer these kinds of questions? So maybe, I don't know, 24 years ago. So as a doctor, back then I used to do insurance, negotiating with insurance companies, negotiation with patients to come in, negotiation with staff, future staff, former staff. Everything you do, ladies and gentlemen, is a negotiation. For Dorothy and me, negotiating, the last detail here was the day and time, whether I'm going to be on. That's negotiation. And you asked me a wonderful question before we began. Ladies and gentlemen, if you were to look at my website, which is exactly as you see it on the screen, richardkaye.com, it says if there were 7 words which have the potential to increase what you get paid or decrease what you'd pay, you'd want to know what those words are. So I'm going to share that stuff with you and your audience a little bit, Dorothy. So that's the background. Then I was meditating, and I was directed to shut my practice and work with entrepreneurs. So pretty close to 25 years ago, there was no negotiation with that one. That was a real clear download. I've been working with entrepreneurs for over 2 decades. Everything you do is a negotiation. I'm going to say one more thing before we actually have a conversation. The first negotiation you have is with yourself every single morning. when you wake up, am I getting out of bed or am I staying here for a while? That's your first negotiation. So let's have some fun, Dorothy.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is the topic I live for. So it sounds like you're just as passionate about it. So, this is going to be a
Absolutely.
fun conversation for sure.
Yes. So what would you like to know?
Yeah. So when you said, let's start with negotiating with yourself, I think that is one thing that most of us forget to do. Tell us a little bit about what that entails and how it can have ramifications to what we end up getting or securing for ourselves.
I love the question. I'm going to tell you why. I think you're the first person who's ever phrased it that way. How about when you go shopping and you look in that freezer cabinet and there's your favorite ice cream there? And the other side is, do you want to lose weight? You're in a negotiation. Do I honor my commitment to losing weight, or am I going to go and get that chocolate chip cookie dough or whatever it is and pig out on it? All right, I'll only have a few teaspoons. Those are the kinds of things we negotiate with ourselves. When you're contemplating going out on a date, whether it's with your spouse or a new person, that's a negotiation. Do you want to do this? How, ladies and gentlemen, you may remember a television show. It was on many years ago. When I used to watch television, I'd watch a show called Rhoda, which was a spinoff from the Mary Tyler Moore Show. And Rhoda's boyfriend, Joe, was in her apartment waiting for her to come home. And he says, she's going to come in and say this. I'm going to say this. She's going to say this. I'm going to say, he says, wait a minute. I'm having an argument with myself and I'm losing. You can only win when you have a negotiation with yourself. Where do you want to move to? When I retired from chiropractic, yeah, I mean, it was a conversation with myself. Is this what I want to do? Give up 30 years as the most visible chiropractor in town because of all the press and begin in sandbox one. We all have these kinds of negotiations. Ladies, some of you are out negotiating salaries, and we'll talk about these kinds of things. How do you decorate your home? What do you wear when you get up in the morning or when you go out on a date or when you get on a Zoom call? It's these little things. And the answer that you must know is they're always correct. You may look back in hindsight and say, I screwed that up. No, you didn't. In the moment, it was perfect, Dorothy. That's the way we live life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. In the moment, it was perfect. What a great way to say it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. With the knowledge you have at the moment.
Based on the information you have at the moment, every decision is correct.
Yeah.
You may gather new information and say, that sucked. I wish but that's what you knew. I could say that about a couple of former wives based on the information afterwards, but in the moment it was perfect. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Richard, what is your favorite negotiation tactic?
Oh, favorite negotiation tactic, just for distinction, so I can distinguish, I call them strategies.
Yeah.
You must know the other person's desired outcome. If you don't, you're screwed right from the start. If you don't know what the other person wants, and I'll give you for me, it's a wonderful example. Dorothy, I used to live in San Diego, and Tijuana was, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes away. The culture in Tijuana is to negotiate. Everything's negotiable. So the woman I was married to back then, we went down to Tijuana. Our goal was to buy a wrought iron flower rack, a planter rack for the kitchen. I knew exactly what I wanted, exactly where it was going to go. So we come across this thing, and it's if I painted a picture, it would have been this. Again, culture. The guy, I asked how much. He says $20. The culture there is you offer half. So I said 10. 1975, 10 and a quarter. We're going back and forth and back and forth. What did he want? He wanted to sell the plant rack. What did I want? I wanted it in my kitchen. Dorothy, I kid you not, we get to the point where it's 15, 15 and a quarter, 15, 15 and a quarter. My then wife nudges me and says, give him the freaking quarter. Let's go home. What is the outcome? What is it that you want? I got so caught up in the negotiation, I lost sight of my desired outcome. So the answer to your question, Dorothy, what's the tactic, or again, in my language, strategy, it means the same thing. It's just, I translate it that way, is what do you want to get out of this conversation, out of this negotiation? And maintain that as your forward-looking sight. If you forget it, I got caught up in 25 cents. I would have given him $40 for the thing because I just wanted it. I didn't tell him that though. And whether you're negotiating salary, a new job, a new position, a new title, what is it you really want? Dorothy, does that answer that question?
Absolutely.
Yeah. God bless you. Boy, don't you just hate it when in the middle of having a conversation, your throat attacks you? And get some water. I'll just keep talking here. So while we're here, let's talk about those 7, what I call magical words. And I'm going to tell you this through a story, ladies and gentlemen. Years ago, a colleague of mine, a doctor, asked me if I would like to teach the work that I was teaching, which was very unique, through his courses and programs. So he laid it all out for me. I was living in San Diego. He would fly me, all expense covered, to San Francisco, Chicago, Miami. I had friends and family all over. I said, hey, someone's going to pay me to teach for a day and see friends and family. And in any kind of business deal, it comes down to a single question. I said, Jay, what are you paying me? Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to understand when I say this is a long time ago, I'm talking decades. He says, I can pay you $500 a sitting. Now, ladies and gentlemen, take notes. I uttered 7 words, actually 8, because I used his name. I said, Jay, you'll have to do better than that. Now, write that down. You'll have to do better than that. Without missing a heartbeat, Jay said, the best I can do is 1,000. Dorothy, what just happened? What happened in that heartbeat? I doubled what I was getting paid. Now, if I were to ask Jay, you got to maybe 600, 700, I never would have doubled it. My commitment was not to teach with him, was to get more money than $500 a city. Now, there's an antidote to that. If Jay had taken my program, which is available when you go to that website, and said, exactly how much better do I have to do? Now, ladies and gentlemen, write that down. That's the response if someone says, you'll have to do better than that. And as I said, Dorothy, if he had said that to me, you'll have to do better than that, I might have said 650, 7, never would have gone to 1,000.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's very important, ladies, that you don't do this with a snide, you'll have to do better than that. No, that's it. You come from a place of love, passion, and Jay, you'll have to do better than that. And then you shut up and you let the other person respond. So now you have those 7 words. It will serve you beautifully, whether you're buying or selling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is such a secret sauce. It's simple, but yet very powerful because it's open-ended and it forces the other person to start questioning their original offer.
And they have to defend it. You're no longer in the weaker position. So I understand a lot of your clients may be negotiating salary. Mm-hmm. And let's break it down to a very simple part. The supervisor, the boss, whoever calls you into an office, and really simple, offers you a better salary. And you look and you ponder, you say, Janet, you'll have to do better than that. And then you shut up. Now, Janet has to go into her model. And there are many answers here, by the way. One was like, Jay, I'll double it. Another is, That's the best I can do. Now, we are all at choice. If someone says, that's the best I could do, ladies, you're a choice. Are you going to accept it or negotiate around it? I understand that's the best you can do. And the language sets here are so important. What would have to happen for me to have a corner office with that? And then shut up again. What would have to happen when I don't recently I was negotiating something and it wasn't business, it was going out to dinner. And I said, what would have to happen for us to go to this place or that place? Now the other person comes up with the answer. Now, remember, I said you must accept the answer, even if it's no. Years ago, I had a Jeep Grand Cherokee. It needed some major work. The rear transaxle failed. When I went to pick the car up, I was like 10 years ago, it was a lot of money, $1,250. And I'm not diminishing that today, but it was a lot back then. And I said, well, what's the best price you can do on that? Now, we're going to speak about that. I said, what's the best price you can do? He says, $1,250. I had a choice. I could either say, keep the car or give him my credit card. Now, let's go back to the core. What's the best price you can do? You're not making someone do something they don't want to do. If you're, again, use salary negotiation, what's the best you can do? Someone makes you an offer. You've got two very powerful tools now. You'll have to do better than that, which comes from a place of strength, or what's the best you can do? Someone offers you 100,000 instead of 75,000. What's the best you can really do?
Mhm.
You can come from that loving space, from a place of inquiry. And now the other person is not so much on the defense, but they have to justify and qualify their answer. That's useful, isn't it, Dorothy?
Absolutely. Let me ask you on that because you're such a wealth of information. Taking that example about the 500 to the 1,000, did you back then, or how would you going forward determine if $1,000 is what your value is? What could it have been 2,000? Could it have been 5,000? What is your approach to determining that?
I would have loved if he'd offered me 5. I would have thought he was out of his mind. 10 times would be a lot. Know what you're worth. Make a determination. Today, you have Google. Find out what position that you occupy that myriad other people are in and what their value is. Now, evaluating salary is not my sweet spot. So I can talk around it, but not the specific. If you ask me, what is this job worth? I hired a gardener and I asked her up front, what is it going to cost you to do? I need this, and this done. So she quoted me a price. And when she was done, it took her a day with her husband instead of the 4 hours that she projected. I said, you didn't charge me enough money. I said, I can't let you leave here. I said, you spent a whole day here. So I made a decision that she was worth more than she quoted me. Now, I've had her come back and she didn't lowball. I mean, she genuinely figured that's what it would take her. Know your own value. And remember, when you are asking for your value, someone may not agree with you. And then you are a choice. Either accept what they offer or come to some new value between, or say, I'm out of here with love if you've got something else set up. Because remember that other person who has, here's another thing. You think they have power over you. They don't. You have power over them. When I was an engineer, before I was a chiropractor, I hated to have to terminate employees, technicians, because the cost of training and get someone else inculcated in the culture of the business was more than a couple of bucks worth of salary. So you have leverage, unless you've totally screwed up and they want you out the door. Yeah. But you have leverage. And Dorothy, I assert that you would know the numbers better than I, what it costs to engage a new client as distinct from retaining an existing client. Same thing with an employee. There's a learning curve that costs money. Doesn't make a difference, the industry, the business, the level. Even on when I ran a couple of production lines as that engineer, it costs time and money to get someone new into the production line. So,
Absolutely. Yeah, it's
yeah,
30 to 40% higher than your salary. So
yes,
you at least have that much to work with.
yes. So you have that leverage, and don't throw it out as a hard fact. In any negotiation, as I said, know the other person's desire. They don't want to, unless you're an absolute idiot harming the business, they don't want to let you go. They
Mhm.
want you there for continuity. And
Mhm.
in that continuity, they'll make more money. And you can, in love, talk about, geez, if you've got to hire someone to replace me, and if it comes really down to it, how long is it going to take that other person to come up to speed? Is it worth it to you to lose income, lose whatever it is, or have me and give me a reasonable, offer me a reasonable increase so that I can continue to support and do this? These are the things I do, and let them know what you do.
Yeah, yeah. So
Uh,
on you've worked with entrepreneurs quite a bit, and recently I've started getting questions from entrepreneurs saying, I'm great at providing service, but when it comes to putting a price to my service, I get very nervous. I'm very terrible at negotiation. What would you say to those people? How are they framing negotiation that's putting this kind of fear in them, and how do they overcome it?
in my experience, Dorothy, people undervalue their net worth. Someone posted something on Facebook the other day, and I'm going to make up numbers because I
Yeah.
understand it. Someone sells a piece of artwork for, I don't know, $1,000, and they detailed it. Cost of materials, 50% goes to the gallery owner. So net value to the artist, $62.50. What is it worth to you? I live in Taos, New Mexico, which is a very artsy town. And years ago, a friend of mine and I went to visit an artist that I know. And Susie asked Elizabeth, how long did it take you to paint that? It's gorgeous. She said, 42 years and 3 hours. You're not paying for the 3 hours. You're paying for the knowledge, the skill, the experience, and in the artist's creativity. Have a value that serves you. Don't overinflate. There are myriad courses out there now. You're not charging. There's one of them is called "You're not charging enough." Oh, excuse me. How do you know? You don't. It's you must know what you're worth. What is your value to somebody? Do your research in any negotiation. And I'll go back to what I said earlier on. What does the other person want? That's the basis of do your research. What is your value to them? And if you come in at a high ball, that's okay, but be prepared. What are you going to do if someone says yes? This is what when I was practicing chiropractic, I had a receptionist. She came in one day. She said, I need a raise. I said, what's going on? She said, my landlord raised my rent and I need more money for the rent. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll be glad to give you a raise. Learn how to type so you can type up my reports. She said, no, I don't want to learn to type. I just need more money. She didn't get it from me. She was out on the street the next week. I just let her go. You must be able to compromise. And compromise, remember, comes from a place of strength, comes from a place of knowing who you are, your value to whatever the kind of conversation is.
Yeah, and to your earlier question, what is the other person trying to achieve? And
Right.
then try to find a way to get both of you what you both need.
Yes. And that's the ultimate goal. The old model, which never worked, was destroy whoever it is and screw them so you come out. When um, negotiation used to be I win, you lose. It
Mm-hmm.
didn't work back then. Then we have what I call level two, Dorothy. That's I win and you win. That's so much better. And then I used to teach what's called level three. I win, you win, and our community wins. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I invite you to explore level four. I win, you win, our community wins, and humanity wins. What would happen if we all lived in the bigger picture? If you're into green and you make a decision not to buy stuff wrapped in plastic or not to buy meat because of what it does to the culture, to the ecology, everybody wins. That again goes back to internal conversation, internal negotiation. Are you going to buy something in a recyclable form or that's throwaway? So we all have to take, and in my worldview, we must play at a higher level. Otherwise, it's not that we're doomed, but it makes life a lot more challenging.
We're going to have to do better than what we've been doing.
Yeah,
We're
and
going to have
that's
to
it.
do better than that.
Yeah, that's exactly. You have to do better than that. And
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a gift to you. You're all in business. You're either employees, entrepreneurs. One of the this is not the germane of this conversation, but you may enjoy this. One of the things I do is secure amazing publicity for people, guaranteed best-selling books, getting on stages, getting in magazines, getting in newspapers, including USA Today. Write this down, and Dorothy, you're invited to put it in the show notes.
Yep, absolutely.
RichardKaye.com, RichardKaye.com /seeking, SEKING dash publicity. We're doing a free masterclass in January. Come on, play. It's 4 hours with some of the top trainers and getting you publicity. And then I got another gift for you as we get near the end of this. Totally congruent with this. It's about negotiation tips. So
yeah, absolutely. Richard, thank you so much for your nuggets. You're sharing your secret sauce, which people have to pay to get to, but you're sharing it generously with our audience. And absolutely let us know how people can find you.
I will be glad to do that. May I give you and your audience another gem before?
Yes, please.
And this is using the word dollars. The word dollars has a huge emotional anchor to it. I'm going to give you an example. Ladies, if any of you out there are realtors, it's one of my favorite examples. If you're selling a home, I don't care what you're selling, do not attach the word dollars to it. Let's say you're selling a home and it's on the market for $675,000. That's what you tell the prospective new owner. This home is on the market for $675,000. And again, you be quiet, you let them digest it. And then you may say, I have a motivated buyer, a motivated seller. She's willing to take $75,000 off the price. That makes it an even $600,000. Wait a minute, didn't you just say don't use the word dollars? Write this down. Dollars are in the discount. Why? We just said it amplifies the emotion. So watch this. I'm going to say it again. The home is on the market for $675,000, raw number, $75,000 discount makes it an even $600,000. When I teach these in programs, workshops, and seminars, and I travel around the country teaching companies. As a matter of fact, if you'd like, reach out to me and I'll give you my email address and we can explore how I can help you be the hero in your company.
Yeah.
Because I come in and teach. I have a picture in Walmart, identical item, one with the dollar sign, one without the dollar sign. You think Walmart knows a lot about market research? So here's some gifts about negotiation. RichardKaye.com /5, FIVE hyphen tips. RichardKaye.com -5 tips. You're going to download 5 very powerful tips that will help you in not every negotiation, because they're all different, but in many of the negotiations that you do in your personal as well as in your business life. And if you'd like to explore my coming in, or if you just want to talk about publicity.com, TALK, about, ABOUT, publicity, PUBLICITY.com, no punctuation. Take you right to my calendar, Dorothy, and we can explore how I may serve you.
Thank you so much. And we'll add everything in the show notes so no one can miss a beat.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Have a great day. And I appreciate you sharing all your nuggets with us.
Oh, that's only some of them. Thanks you so much. Thanks
All
for
right.
allowing me to play in your sandbox, Dorothy.
There you have it, my friends. That's all we have for today. I hope you took some notes on how to master negotiations and how to use everyday interactions as ways to build your negotiation muscle. Thank you for listening, and bye for now. There you have it, my friends. As you know, I'm on a mission to close the pay gap. Every podcast episode is designed to give you the tools, techniques, and inspiration so you can bravely advocate for yourself. Thank you for listening, and bye for now.